But what I have learned in my 67 years on this planet is that things are not what they appear to be at first hand. It took me a while to learn that, but to make a long story shorter, I uncovered a code styled Desdemona. It is a code based on pictographs of the English language alphabet that came to North America in the middle to late 1800s with the immigrants who came to take possession of the land west of the Mississippi.
Yeah. It wasn't Desdemona a character in Shakespeare?
Yes, Desdemona is a character in Shakespeare. Othello is the name of the play. And it's basically the story of a woman who is murdered by her husband once he is convinced by a friend who has an ulterior motive that she has not been totally honest with him about her relationships. And it is basically an allegory for the coming of the IRS, Internal Revenue Service, to America. In Canada, a similar organization is called CCRA, for Canada Customs and Revenue Agency. The story derived from breaking down this code is that a plan was set up to transfer technology out of China about 1,000 years ago, following the Crusades into Jerusalem. And the plan was to transfer the technology through an intermediary known as Persia. Most politicians in the U.S. would learn something about history if they took the time to look up the word Persia in the dictionary, and they would then understand the relationship that exists between four what seem to be separate groups today, but are in fact one group.
The Persians and who else, Glenn?
The Persians are the overall name to describe red Asians. That's what Persia means. P-E-R basically means red.
Right, it means fire, it's fur.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the subdivisions of Persia are to the furthest point east closest to China, Afghanistan. In the upper center, Iran, and in the closest to the west, Iraq. And in the center lower side, closest to the Indian Ocean, was a country called Media. The people of Media were known as the Medi, the middlemen, the people that make things happen.
Robert, you're a Media, aren't you?
Yeah, slightly different.
I'm dealing with history here.
Right. Well, no, I knew, for like 20 years that Mede, the Medes and Persians, that the Mede was Media, and you're right on with that, Glenn. I know that.
Well, Media has at its heart two divisions, Medi and Sini, which make up the word medicine. And that's basically the materials that will be used to change the people they meet both through their body and through their brain. The medicine is to change the brain, the body, while Cine changes the brain. So for all intents and purposes, you can say that Cine would include Hollywood and the television media,
right.
For example. In the old days, used to be stage plays and things like that.
Well, Glenn, also, sin means to burn.
Mm-hmm.
You know, as in incendiary.
Yeah.
And
Sindh, by the way, is the province in Pakistan which is the closest to the Indian Ocean and is the home base of the Bhutto family. In any event, this group of people would make arrangements with a group of people in Italy, guide them into China, and bring back with them the technology that would be needed in order to bring all of Europe out of the Dark Ages and prepare Europe, which is a word meaning, if you break it down, a rope, an EU rope, which would in fact specialize towards the end of its term in making what became known as the College of 6 Days, a place on the planet where space travel would eventually be developed. I don't need to tell you in detail that the eventual choice of that space lies between its two boundaries. To the south, Mexico, controlled through Spain, and in the north, Canada, controlled through France and England. This space in the middle happens to be called today USA, while the capital of Media in Persia was called Susa, S-U-S-A. The USA was given a task to do, as I said, to go into the edges of outer space, develop all of that technology, and for it to be able to do that, it would require assistance at the beginning stages of this project from the technologies that were already known in the different aspects of the industrial age in China, in India, in Egypt. Eventually, once that goal had been achieved, in other words, reaching the edges of the universe, to a place called the Oort cloud, O-O-R-T, the task would be deemed to have been completed. The United States has launched spacecraft now that will pass Pluto within the next few years and enter into the Oort cloud, which is basically the home of comets, and each comet brings with it certain chemistry and electrical magnetisms that, when added to existing chemistry and magnetism, changes the type of life that is possible on the body that holds these chemicals and magnetisms. We have now reached the point where we are entering this week into the age of Aquarius, the changing of the life on Earth is happening as we speak, and is symbolized by the eggs that are colored at Easter time, and will be rolled out as usual on Monday on the lawn of the White House. To make it as short as I can, and I'm trying to give you the bigger picture without going into all the details here, is that this year, 2008, marks the beginning of the end of this new beginning. America has completed its